G'day folks. Well, I believe this is one of the first Australian delivered F-150s, as in sanctioned by Ford Australia, to do the Canning stock route. And I'm sure you've got a lot of questions. I certainly did before I attacked this track. Firstly, a 3.5 litre twin turbo petrol engine doing the Canning. How's that going to go? And how is a larger, bigger, wider, longer American vehicle going to handle the Canning stock route, which is notoriously a single lane tight track? Well, a couple of things. Firstly, on the dimensions, not too bad. In fact, the wheelbase, the extended wheelbase, gives an incredible ride. So corrugations are everywhere out here. They are the worst in Australia, bar none. And really that additional distance of the wheelbase of this is around about 340, 350 mils longer than say a Ford Ranger. And what you find with that additional wheelbase is you get just a superior ride. It just handles the corrugations better. You can drive a little bit quicker if you want to. And that's a nice thing. Likewise, when you get up to those sand dunes where people have dug holes, well, generally speaking, all sorts of vehicles have a very similar wheelbase, be they large four-wheel drive wagons or large dual cab four-wheel drives. Because the F-150 wheelbase is that little bit longer, what tends to happen is the holes that people dig when they get bogged, the same wheelbase of, say, a Ford Ranger. So what happens is you get the suspension compression on both the front and the back axle of the vehicle, which is very difficult, almost impossible to control. So that's where you get the big bouncies up the sand dunes. With this vehicle, because it has a longer wheelbase, that simply doesn't happen as much, if at all, because you're never in someone else's holes with both the front and the back axle. So a little bit complicated to explain, but I'm sure you get it. Likewise, the fuel efficiency of this is quite astounding. I mean, I have loaded the heck out of this, and yes, I was getting 10 to 12 litres per 100 kilometres around town and on the highway prior with the standard vehicle. But of course, when you put a block of flats on the roof and you put the 35-inch tyres and the all-terrain rubber, you're not going to get the same sort of efficiency. But having said that, I've been getting figures as good as 16 litres per 100 out of this, which is quite incredible, I think, given the load that I'm carrying. I mean, I've got coffee machines and beer kegs, tents and awnings, en suites. I've got hot water systems. I've got 400 amp hours of lithium power in there and all the associated stuff. I've got solar panels on the roof. So to get 16 litres per 100, that is better than a lot of diesel four-wheel drives. Of course, it goes up a little bit, nudges up into the 20s when you're climbing sand dunes and all that sort of stuff, but really it's not a great problem. I have extended the fuel range. They come standard with, I think it's a 135 litre fuel tank. I bumped it out to 205 just as a precautionary measure, but I have found that I haven't really needed to dip into that last quarter of a tank, even in these remote locations. So it's been particularly good. But I think the wonderful thing for me about this vehicle is just the interior size and comfort. It is nuts, and you really do need to drive it to believe it. And look, I'm sponsored by Ford, but this is a vehicle that I would actually buy out of choice, nothing to do with the sponsorship deal, because it is simply an incredibly comfortable and incredibly powerful vehicle. And even when you're out on those outback dirt roads and you need to overtake a road train, put your foot down in this, a petrol four-wheel drive, and you can rock it past safely and comfortably. But that interior room in the front seat and the back seat, and just general overall cabin feel, the stereo, the screen, all that sort of stuff in this vehicle just makes it super, super comfortable to tackle the long kilometres that it takes to come out here to places like the Canning stock route. So I've been surprised in the best possible way that you can actually do these serious, remote and rugged Aussie four-wheel drive tracks in what's essentially an American vehicle designed for America. It turns out it goes pretty good over here too.